Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing, checking back in with y'all, man. What's good? So, a Jermell Charlo win over Canelo Alvarez, what does it mean? What does it mean? I actually think that a Jermell Charlo win on September 30th changes the landscape of the sport for a few different weight classes. Right now, we have Terrence Bud Crawford rated as the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport after his dominant victory over Errol Spence Jr. Well, Jermell Charlo can make a very strong case for himself being #1 pound-for-pound in the sport if he defeats Canelo Alvarez. You think about the accolades. He's already undisputed at 154. He will join Terrence Crawford as the only male fighter to be undisputed in 2 different weight classes. But then that night also has an opportunity to be the only fighter ever to be undisputed in 2 weight classes at the same time. That's one thing. On top of that, he's moving up to 168, 2 weight classes to beat Canelo Alvarez, somebody who for a long time was considered #1 pound-for-pound. So that right there changes the landscape of boxing. Jermell Charlo getting a victory over Canelo Alvarez, depending on how he does it. If it's a close, eat by type of victory, maybe he doesn't surpass Terrence Crawford. But if he beats Canelo convincingly by a dominating unanimous decision or a stoppage, dare I say, you got to put him in that conversation as #1 pound-for-pound. Also, Jermell Charlo wins. Instead of him going back to 154, like he said that he would, because he said 154 is still his division, he beats Canelo Alvarez. Now you're the undisputed champion at 168. Do you really want to drop those pounds and go back down to 154? Now that the WBO is stripping you of your title, effectively taking away your undisputed status at 154, is it even worth it to go back down to 154? Now you have Jermell Charlo campaigning full time at 168. Maybe he goes down 1 weight class and campaigns at 60. It changes the landscape of things. Instead of Canelo versus David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade and, all of the top guys at 168, Caleb Plant. Instead of those fights being aimed towards Canelo Alvarez, now they get aimed towards Jermell Charlo. He beat Canelo. Now we can finally get that Demetrius Andrade and Jermell Charlo fight that we were supposed to get years ago. Maybe we get instead of Jermell Charlo versus David Benavidez, we get a Jermell Charlo versus David Benavidez. It's so many things that take place if Jermell Charlo wins. Instead of Jermell Charlo going down to 154, giving Terrence Crawford his opportunity to be undisputed in 3 weight classes, Terrence Crawford comes up to 168 and fights Jermell Charlo. Does Terrence Crawford go up for Jermell Charlo? We know that he's talking about going up for Canelo, seemingly overlooking Charlo's ability to beat Canelo. Terrence Crawford says that he would go up for Canelo and fight him at 168. Will he go up to 168 to fight Jermell? He better, with all that shit that he was talking. You know what I'm saying? He did say that he would go up and fight the winner, but all this smoke has been more so aimed towards Canelo at 168. If Jermell Charlo wins, that forces Terrence Crawford to have to put himself at a huge disadvantage versus a guy that's already bigger, going up to 168 and challenging him for the undisputed title in that division. A mega fight if that happens. It's a lot. Jermell Charlo takes away the mystique. Even though Canelo has already been beat, people don't believe that Jermell Charlo can win this fight. This will take away that mystique that, this, Canelo's already had that unbeatable mystique taken away, but I don't think Canelo has been embarrassed or dominated or hurt physically to the point where, all right, people start to realize, all right, like this, you can get a win on this dude if you do this, this, and this. You know what I'm saying? We saw Floyd dominate Canelo, make him look like an amateur, but he was a little green at that time. He was still Canelo. Ain't no excuses. But he was a little green at that time. Now you got, and then Bivol put them hands on him, showed him you can get a victory over him, when Canelo is at the peak, at the top of his game. But nobody gives Jermell Charlo an opportunity or a chance to beat Canelo. I think this victory, if Jermell can beat Canelo, this victory would be more valuable. It would mean more for Jermell Charlo, finally getting the respect that he deserves as a top elite fighter in the game. Even after becoming undisputed, people still doubt the man's abilities. A Jermell Charlo win over Canelo changes shit drastically in the sport. Instead of getting him back at 54, now he's campaigning at 168. You open up the a rematch for Canelo or Charlo versus Terrence Crawford at 168. In this case, it will be the same situation with Canelo and Charlo, two undisputed fighters facing off. Terrence Crawford being undisputed at 47, Jermell Charlo being undisputed at 168. This is already some unprecedented shit that's happening on September 30th, where you got two currently undisputed fighters facing off. And then that shit happens a second time, back to back, with Terrence Crawford and Jermell Charlo. Unprecedented shit. I think that Jermell Charlo being a huge underdog in this fight makes it even, that much more exciting. It would make a win be that more valuable for Jermell Charlo. I'm definitely interested to see what happens, and I want to know what y'all think as far as a Jermell Charlo win over Canelo. What does this mean for the sport of boxing? How likely? What's the chances of Jermell beat Canelo? And what do you think transpires from a Jermell Charlo win over Canelo? I did see that David Benavidez and Demetrius Andrade is official. We're going to talk about that as well. But again, Jermell beating Canelo changes the landscape of what happens after that fight. Who the winner of that fight goes after. Because right now, everybody wants Canelo at 168. But if Jermell Charlo win, that energy is going to shift over to Jermell Charlo. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.